David, the season's finished, but I suppose this is where the work starts.
I don't think it's really finished, to be honest, Andy. We've been working tirelessly all year, and whilst the season's finished, there's been a lot going on behind the scenes, and certainly that's coming to fruition now. And obviously, the next step is obviously working throughout the summer.
It's shown today, isn't it, with the fact that we've signed Jack Iredale, that work has been going on for weeks, possibly months.
Yeah, we've certainly done a lot of profiling in terms of where we wanted to be, and that's with Stephen and obviously the rest of the staff. The key picture is having a plan, and that's certainly what we've got. But we wanted to be respectful, and that's what Stephen's had to do as a manager. He had the responsibility of speaking to the players, and obviously signing out his retained list, and obviously the players that he found. It's not an easy position for a manager to release people, because we're fully respectful of this club, that we have had some good professionals here, very good lads as well. And it was tough for Stephen, and obviously tough to sometimes release people that become part of your nature and you see every day. And believe me, that dressing room was a very good dressing room with some very good characters in it. But the harsh reality of a football and this work that we live in is that you do get ups and downs, and then players will reflect on where they see their futures. And we wish everybody that went away, the very, very best, and they've been part of the Carlisle life, and now they have to see pastures new, and what I'm sure will be not like any dissimilar to any other club. We will reflect and try and bring new players through that will take us in a different path.
Part of that process, which came to fruition on Monday with the retained and released, is offering players contracts. They're clearly players you see as part of the DNA going forward.
Well, the key to it is that the manager decides on the players, and no, there's no doubt about that. Stephen, he's not been told who he can have and who he can't have. He's reflected on who he wanted. We gave him the responsibility of being the manager of this football club, on reflection of what he saw as his blueprint to take the club forward. The board and myself, we respected that, and we do want continuity at this football club as much as we can have it in a world of football which is sometimes very fragile. We've gone for stability, and respectfully, I sat down with Stephen. We went into depth about all of his plans, certainly on the pitch, and his reflections, and that was why he got another season with us, and we're delighted that he stayed. I enjoy working with Stephen, and he's got the responsibility now of bringing the profiles that we find that will be the chemistry to hopefully give us a good season next season, and progress.
You've said this already, the disappointment of missing out on the playoffs wasn't ever really going to be a factor in deciding who the manager would be going forward.
No, I based it on facts, and those facts were based on certainly a lot of evidence. We had a relatively small squad last season, and when you did get hit with a number of injuries in certain games, it wasn't a reflection on Stephen, it wasn't a reflection on his management, it was a reflection on the fact that our squad wasn't sufficiently at the depth, and that's down to many aspects. And when 5 or 6 players are out of anybody's squad, it really does tell. So when we had to manage those situations, and we hope that people see through that. But it shows you when we went to Stevenage, we had a squad, and to Tranmere as well, where we really struggled to cope. But when we got the boys fit, and they were on the training ground, and our physio, worked wonders with them, and the boys, the players, wore the shirt with pride. We played Bury with 10 men and beat them, and showed the characteristics that the Cumbrians and the Carlisle supporters would want, and then we beat Lincoln, and then so we had the squad. But when it was hit with the demands of the season, it was a tough place to be, and so you couldn't always judge the manager on that. So, having been there myself and having many years of playing, some games are going to be harder than others. But one thing I can say is that the players played the games, and they gave everything, which we fully respect.
Unanimous across the boardroom that Stephen was the man to take us forward. That's a great pat on the back for him.
There was no doubt. Listen, I had the task of, obviously, you know, if we didn't, is there another plan? But ultimately it was one that we were looking through really with our shades on. We liked Stephen. We had a good format working with him, and as I say, it was based on facts. And I had the evidence, the hard evidence, every week of Stephen's plan going into matches, how methodical he was, how appreciative he was, and the fact that the biggest thing for me is that Stephen bought into Carlisle, and he's been here. You know, when I'm here, he's here, and he's barely been away. He's bought into being in and around the city, and that's a big thing.